What's up, and welcome in to the CHGO Bulls postgame. Welcome in, Bulls Nation. I'm Matt Peck. You can follow me on Twitter at Bulls_Peck. You can follow my friend Big Dave Watson at BAW, BAWL Sports. And joining us from down under, our friend Mark K. Follow him on Twitter at MK Hoops. Mark, what's up, buddy?
Not too much, guys. I'm doing pretty good. How are you? What are we doing today? We're talking fruit. We're talking water, vegetables, condiments, some bulls. What are we doing?
But I did tell Dave that I had a salad as part of my dinner tonight.
I'm so proud.
First, he was skeptical.
Yes.
And then I brought proof, and then he was proud. Our friend and the other member of our team, Will Gottlieb, will be joining us later on in postgame. He's doing that good old Zoom postgame press conference action right now, getting some thoughts from the Bulls on their most recent loss. That's 5 in a row. That is a season-long 5-game skid for the Bulls, 121-106 against Embiid, Harden, and the Sixers. I mean, look, I think you kind of had to expect the Bulls to play a perfect game to get a win tonight in Philly against that duo that we spent pregame talking about in Embiid and Harden. And, we could talk about a lot of things. We could talk about the Bulls defense kind of, failing to find any way to slow down Embiid tonight. We can talk about free throw discrepancy, lots of things. To me, this was a simple example, and there have been several recently, of when the Bulls are as they are, with a hindered, clearly not looking like himself, Zach LaVine, and missing key defensive pieces, they are not a team that can contend and go blow to blow with the best teams and the most elite teams in the league, of which Philly certainly appears to be one right now, Dave.
Yeah, without question they are. The proof is in the pudding, game after game after game. You see them putting in the effort. You see them trying their damnedest to, get this win and get this victory, but they just keep coming up short because they don't have the manpower. And like you stated, guys like Zach LaVine have been a little off. DeMar DeRozan shooting has been a little off. So when you don't have those two guys, and you got Nikola Vucevic being out also tonight, you lose that kind of guy, that can provide that offense for the team and provide those reboundings for the team. So, yeah, you're going to struggle, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I think I saw a tweet of yours shortly after the final horn, Mark, that was basically like, look, given the circumstances, including the late scratch of Vooch, not entirely surprised and actually not that angry about the result because you kind of expected it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and look, this is what I said last time, undersell, over-deliver. I was expecting them to get absolutely destroyed tonight, based on, the Embiid Harden combination more generally is just absolutely unstoppable. But the fact that you got no Lonzo Caruso, I know people are sick of hearing that at this point, which I completely understand, but you also didn't have Vooch tonight. Now, Vooch hasn't necessarily done that well against Embiid, so who knows if that actually matters. But nonetheless, you're out 3 of your closing 5, let's say. So to me, I wasn't expecting them to be competitive at all. I think for most of the game that they were competitive. Yes, they could have done some things better than what they ultimately did, but I thought that was a decent game. It was more than what I was expecting to get from the Bulls. And at this point, they're just not a very good team. Since the turn of 2022, they're essentially a 500 team. They've got a negative net rating. They're virtually right in the middle of the NBA in terms of net rating. They're a mediocre team. So we shouldn't be surprised that they're stumbling in the way they are now against this real good competition. But irrespective of that, I thought they played a pretty good game tonight.
January in the YouTube comments saying, "Oh no, 5 in a row," but it's the Sixers. Come on.
Agreed.
If you were banking on a Bulls win tonight to end this losing streak, you're not looking at the talent on paper that teams had available. Christopher in the comments saying that was not good from the jump, Clark. Is he blaming Clark? Like our Clark?
I feel like he's blaming Clark. Yeah, I think that's who he's looking at.
Was it the pregame stuff? Is that what happened here?
I think that's what he's alluding to.
Just because I picked the Bulls to win this game.
Or as we discovered in pregame, it could be Allie's fault because we got Allie. We welcomed Allie to Chicago with open arms. She's been a great help to us setting up CHG over the past week.
She has.
And I outed her as a Sixers fan.
You did.
So I'm partly blaming her too. If you're watching Allie, this is your fault. This is your fault.
Oh, man.
Obviously, a big talking point coming into this game, Mark, was the recent free throw discrepancy that we have seen from the Bulls not getting to the line, their opponents getting to the line a lot. And you had a great tweet that you pointed out earlier on in this game about it's not maybe necessarily all the Bulls' fault that they're fouling, that they're giving bad fouls, but that they have, in this recent stretch of losses, played some of the most elite teams in the league when it comes to getting to the free throw line.
Yeah, look, and this is, I don't understand why this is the narrative that's going around now. Like, what are you expecting them to do defensively to stop these teams from getting to the line? But more generally, like the Bulls just themselves are not a team that get to the free throw line that often, as I sort of illustrated there in the tweet. Like the Sixers, we know with Harden and Embiid, they're going to get to the line a million times. The Bucks, because of Giannis, I mean, what did he have the other day? Like 19 free throw attempts just by himself. They're going to get to the line a ton. The Hawks with Trae Young, and then the Heat with Jimmy Butler. Like they have guys that can get to the free throw line at a rate that the Bulls just simply can't do. Like DeMar is really good at getting to the free throw line, but beyond DeMar, it's a team full of guys that don't necessarily get to the line often because they're a team mostly with jump shooters. I mean, Zach should probably be getting to the line more than what he is at the moment. I'm assuming maybe he doesn't have that same bounce or burst that he did previously because of the injury. But, think about the rest of the roster. You got like low volume shooters like Javonte and Derek Jones Jr. who just don't shoot. Therefore, they're not necessarily going to get to the free throw line. Ayo and Kobe are predominantly jump shooting guys. Like they're not going to be driving to the basket at will. They're not going to get fouled that much. So, and Vooch has historically been, and Lonzo too, like they've been historically low volume free throw shooters. So I just don't understand why people are surprised that the Bulls don't get to the free throw line much, but then conversely, why their opponent is getting there so often. Like it's just a season-long trend, and we should just know these facts, and we shouldn't be surprised when it materializes.
Yeah, and it even, just to add to what he said, like Ja Morant had 15 free throws, Jimmy Butler with 10, Trae Young with 11, like you said, Giannis with 19, and tonight Embiid with 16 free throws. You got two of those guys, and Embiid and Harden on the same team. You know they're going to the line.
And look, at halftime, it looked like this was headed towards another awful night as far as the free throw discrepancy. The Bulls were 6 of 8 from the line at half. Sixers 17 of 20. Dave, I saw your tweet that was like, man, 20 free throws in the first half.
Crazy.
Come on.
That's crazy.
But the Bulls closed the gap a little bit. The final tallies were Bulls 20 of 26 at the line, Sixers 27 of 34. Mm-hmm. Dave, I mean, do you think it's just kind of a matter of the Bulls waited until it was too late to start attacking the basket?
No, it might have been a matter of the officials looking up and seeing the discrepancy in the free throws.
Oh, we got to get this margin closer before this one.
Wait a minute, this is looking crazy right here. Scott Foster making calls from across the court.
That was crazy.
That was insane, man. But yeah, I don't know what to attribute that to. If they started going, because I did notice Zach LaVine the second game in a row of him attacking the basket and getting to the bucket, or at least trying to. He was getting some of those calls. The block on Embiid obviously got overturned. That got changed and everything like that. But yeah, maybe because they have to go to the bucket. They have got to go to the basket a little bit more. But like Mark said, they're a jump shooting team. So all you have is pretty much DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine as your two guys. Now, DeMar is going to get his calls. The question is Zach going to get those calls? A two-time All-Star, is he going to start getting those calls when he's going to the bucket?
Right.
And that's what it becomes concerning a little bit.
I mean, Zach and DeMar tonight actually combined, when it was all said and done, for 20 free throw attempts. Mm-hmm. Embiid and Harden combined for 22. Mm-hmm. Like, that's close. That's your two stars and their two stars with only two difference, a difference of 2 free throw attempts. Mm-hmm. You can live with that.
And Zach also was struggling from the line, though, when he was getting to the line.
5 of 8 tonight from Zach.
That was weird to see for me. And it's another game that has happened like that for him, right? Like, it's weird for me to see that. And I think you started to attribute that to the knee, because I know you are super duper concerned about that knee. I don't know if you noticed about him, Mark, but Matt worries a lot.
Hi, my name's Matt, and I'm worried about Zach LaVine's knee. This is the part where you all go, hi, Matt, because it's a support group. But apparently I am the only one in this support group, and I'm not feeling an awful lot of support. God help us all.
I support you, but I'm not gonna leave you hanging out there. But another thing to consider as well, part of the reason why maybe the Bulls are struggling to get to the free throw line is as well, they just don't get up a lot of threes, and they don't have a lot of ample spacing. Only 24 3-point attempts tonight. It's, I'd like to think that's an outlier, but it's not really. And when you're starting Tristan Thompson and Javonte out there together at power forward, both of those dudes aren't shooting threes. We know DeMar's not necessarily going to shoot threes. It just makes it a little bit harder. The court is a little bit more condensed. There's not as much space. So in terms of getting to the free throw line or getting inside the paint, that's a lot harder to do when you're just not a real spacing shooting team as William rolls in.
Mark, let me ask you. Very good.
Will Gottlieb, ladies and gentlemen. In the house.
But Mark, let me ask you, because I guess my question is, you say in the 3-point shooting, does Lonzo being back in there kind of help with that, though? Because, just how good he has been from the 3-point line?
Yeah, for sure. Like Lonzo will have the 3-point attempt rate, but still, like even when Lonzo was playing, the Bulls were among like the bottom 5 in terms of 3-point attempts. Like they're very good at converting the threes that they do take, but in terms of raw attempts, like they're just really low in terms of their competition versus the rest of the league. So I don't think that's really going to be solved. I know a lot of people think that Patrick Williams will solve that problem as well. We discussed that last time on the show that I don't think he will, but this just isn't a team that shoots a lot of threes. That's who they are. They're not going to be, and you can get by on that when you're forcing so many points in transition, and as they were in the first 30 odd games when Lonzo and Caruso were around. But that's basically gone from being a top 10 team in points off turnovers to basically being a bottom 5 team in points off turnovers. So you're not getting those easy scores. We know that they don't hit the offensive rebounds and get second chance points like that. They don't shoot threes, so they're really working up against it. And when you're not getting your free throws as well, then we shouldn't be surprised that they're finding a little bit more difficult to score versus their opponents.
I mean, Zach got his threes tonight. He at least got his threes for me.
Congratulations.
It was DeMar and Harden who shortchanged me on that points bet same game parlay.
But I hit my bet though.
Well, good.
I hit the over on mine, baby. Yes, I did.
Did you put money on it?
Did I get the over on mine?
What was the Embiid?
It was pretty.
that was
not
easy
close.
money
Not
tonight.
close. No.
The Embiid combined points, rebounds, and assists. Embiid finished with 43, 14, and 2.
Goodness, I'm gonna say that's good.
That's not bad.
I'm saying it's pretty good.
Yikes. So, all right, let's look at where the Bulls are here for a second. 39 and 26 with this loss. The Eastern Conference, I feel like I'm melting away with this Bulls 5-game losing streak. Good Lord. You're now looking at being 4th in the East, a game back of Milwaukee, a game and a half back of Philly, and now only a half game ahead of Boston.
Okay, yeah, that's what it's going to be when you play these elite teams and you don't have your full lineup. Yeah, you're going to struggle against that. I think even when we were picking the Bulls that one time we were doing the podcast, we had them losing a lot of these games in this stretch as well. But help is on the way in the form of the Detroit Pistons. So I appreciate that. And help is on the way in the form of the Sacramento Kings. It won't be easy.
Detroit
but help
Pistons
is on the
coming
way.
in like Mrs. Doubtfire. Help is on
Help
the way,
is on the way. So yeah, I am so looking forward to that. But yeah, you're right. They're going to struggle, man.
I mean, they can't take any of these games lightly at this point.
True.
That's
No,
like
very
5
true.
losses in a row. You can't just come out there assuming you're going to win. Like they need to take care of business now.
No, you
Finally,
need to
they're
come
getting-
into that Detroit game like we got to beat these guys by 40.
Agreed.
Yeah, we got to boost the point differential back up.
Yeah. And you see that graphic of the Eastern Conference standings. Let me now apologize to Joey and Clark, who are our awesome production team, because I told them right before we're going to use that graphic first, and then we're going to use Mark's tweet to talk about the free throws. And then I switched it on
They
them.
had your back though.
I switched it on them.
You know, I am. I can handle that. I noticed you hadn't talked about it yet, so I waited, and now I just put it up. When you did,
These are
Put my
trained
faith in you.
professionals.
So-
It's a trained
Put my faith in you.
professional, sir. You see the jacket? Don't play with that man over there.
And that Mrs. Doubtfire reference was for you. My gosh. How many times did you watch Mrs. Doubtfire as a kid?
Once.
Once?
One time.
We had that VHS copy, and we
It was on
ran
rotation.
it ragged.
It was on rotation.
Didn't even have to think about it. Just one time.
Just one time. I saw it, and I love Robert Williams, man. Everybody knows me. I love him, man. But yeah, I was like, this is a great movie. Let's move on.
All right.
Great segue.
So, I mean, I guess if there is a little bit of silver lining to this 5-game losing streak cloud when you're looking at those standings, it's that the Bulls are still 3.5 clear of – no, 4.5 clear of Toronto in the 7th seed.
There you go.
So you're still clear of the play-in by 4.5 games, and you've got, as we just mentioned, some more winnable games coming up on the schedule. To me, when we saw that slew of injuries happen, before the All-Star break, that's where my mind was. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah.
I was just like, well, that 1 seed was fun. Bye. Let's just avoid the play-in. Will, are you kind of in a similar frame of mind right now when it comes to where the Bulls finish?
Yeah, I mean, I think these teams are all, extremely good. Trying to game who you're going to face in the first round, if you're going to be able to get 2 mediocre teams on your way to the conference finals. That's fun, but at this point, to begin the season, where do we think the Bulls were going to be? I think everybody was, even the really optimistic people like myself were, 4, 5, 6, maybe top of the play-in. So I think, looking at the broader context here and revisiting expectations, this is not too far removed from where we thought they might be, and they have all this help on the way.
As 37 Cycles said in the comments, this is what happens when your bench now becomes 60% of your starting lineup. Salim in the comments. What up, Salim? Saying Pistons beat the Hawks tonight in OT and have been playing competitively, so definitely can't take them lightly.
Correct.
Well, thanks for ruining my feel-good thought about playing the Pistons on Wednesday.
I'm still saying we beating Detroit, but you're right. You can't take them lightly. You got to go out there and play them, man. But we beating Detroit.
What about you, Mark? Where are you right now as far as what you would like to see the Bulls do in the standings, if it's anything other than just avoiding the play-in?
Well, I mean, just to add on to Salim's point, the Pistons are 6-4 over their last 10. The Bulls are 5-5 over their last 10. So I don't know how that support group's going there for you there, Matthew. But I'm definitely not supporting you at the moment. But nonetheless, as to your question, I'm just very thankful that the Cavs and the Raptors are seemingly stumbling, if not as much as the Bulls, or maybe more. I think that's what's keeping the Bulls in that top 6 range at the moment. Had the Cavs not had the injuries, I think Jarrett Allen yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, got hurt. We play the Cavs at the end of the week. Like, that'll be an interesting matchup there. But, like, yeah, they've got a lot of injuries. The Raptors, for whatever reason, they were surging for a bit around that All-Star break, then they started stumbling again. So I don't know what's going on there. The Nets, for whatever reason, they haven't got it together after the trade. So, yeah, we should be thankful that some of those other teams aren't getting together. And I know the Bulls have been very unlucky in a lot this season in terms of the injuries they've suffered, but in a lot of ways, we should be thankful that we have received some luck that some of these other teams haven't necessarily got it together, which is enabling the Bulls to stay in that 4-5 range at the moment. But like, if the Cavs, if the Raptors, if the Nets were actually playing like they should be, then we could be looking at a situation where the Bulls were already in the play-in, but thankfully that's not the case.
Mark, do you think that 4 or 5 range is about where the Bulls will end up when the season's over?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're probably trending at the moment where they're going to be the 5th seed and the Celtics are going to be 4. I don't think they're going to get back up to 3rd with the Bucks. I think the Bucks are going to cement the 3rd spot, and then the Heat and the Sixers will be playing for 1 and 2. So it kind of feels like it's headed towards a 4-5 matchup with the Bulls and Celtics in the first round. And at the moment, the way it's trending, the Celtics have been probably the best team in basketball for the last half of, essentially the last half of the season. Let's call it since the start of 2022. They're first in net rating, they're first in defensive rating, they're 7th in offensive rating. So like the Celtics are probably the best team in the Eastern Conference right now. So at least over the last 30 games. So I would be fearful of that matchup, and that's kind of where it's heading at the moment. That the Celtics are being 4, the Bulls in 5, and we'll see what happens in the first round.
Dom Toretto in the comments saying, I just think people have to start realizing and opening their eyes to what exactly Alex Caruso means for this Bulls team. Is that Vin Diesel from the Fast and the Furious?
I'm a little upset that he didn't throw in family in there. You know what I'm saying?
There was no mention of family by Dom Toretto just now.
Matter of fact, F9 just hit HBO Max, and I'm very excited to watch this movie. I'm so excited. I love this trash. It's the best.
Are they going to just keep calling them that even into the double digits?
Dude, they could call it G24. I don't care.
Oh my gosh, wait. When they get to the 13th Fast and the Furious movie, they call it F13. Could it be a crossover with Friday the 13th?
Ooh, what if
just somehow bring those worlds together?
Can they put like wheels on the plane? Like, and just have them drive that? If they can
put snakes on a plane, they can put wheels on the plane.
I wanted to see him drive that for no reason, man. I want all the foolishness that comes with Fast and Furious. Thank you, Dom.
You know what else people should open their eyes to, Dave?
What's that?
Is all the fun they can have playing on PointsBet.
Oh.
Tell the people, wouldn't you?
Oh.
I came so close to my same game parlay.
He was right there, ladies and gentlemen. He couldn't be like me, who hit ours, baby. I hit mine, and my man Will with the smooth hair hit his as well. And you can do that also, because the best way to support CHGO is to download the PointsBet app and use the code CHGO when you sign up, because PointsBet is your home for live in-game betting. We are excited for PointsBet's new exclusive features, live NBA same-game parlay. For the first time ever, you can build the perfect live same-game parlay only with PointsBet. Combine your favorite bets during the game, and if you want some more, you can also boost your live same-game parlays. And also, and this is going on right now, y'all, online sign-up is available in Illinois. No more having to leave your house to do it. No, you can stay home and go ahead and sign up. You can download the PointsBet app today, register your account, and start to finish all from your phone. Signing up is the fastest sportsbook, is now easier than ever. So you can start living your bet life in seconds. Use the code CHGO to get risk-free risk-free bets up to $2,000. Once the game starts, you don't just bet, you live your bet life with PointsBet. Oh,
We got to get in Studio B and lay down some tracks.
give me a dope beat, man. I've always wanted to say that to you. I don't know why.
If you
we make
say
it
to
a
me,
podcasting
give me a
rule?
dope beat, you are looking in the wrong direction.
What'd you say, Mark?
I was gonna say, can we just make it a rule on this podcast that Dave is the only one that's allowed to do like ad reads? Like
It's like a repeatable shot for him. It's just money every single time.
The man has
Like,
a calling.
If I was to do that, if you was, I don't want to throw you under the bus, Paul, so maybe I'll just feel like we'll just keep it to me. But like,
You can
there's
throw me
no
under the
way
bus,
I
it's
can
fine.
match that energy or anything like that. So like, Dave has to be the ad man because that makes me want to gamble. To be honest with you,
Dang. All right. Listen, any compliment
You
from
got
Mark,
me sold,
I'll
man.
take. Any compliment from Mark, I'm taking every day of my life.
There was
sir.
somebody tweeting at us like end of the third quarter, going into fourth quarter, being like, "I need a Dave ad read jingle to pick up my spirits right now." That is how magical they are.
PointsBet, y'all. CHGO is the code. Go ahead, get that app.
Boom. I'm coming right back with another same game parlay on Wednesday,
Oh,
man.
yeah, man. 'Cause,
When you barely miss them, it just
You
makes
got one more free bet
That's true.
That's true.
That's true.
'Cause you get two.
because you get
Yeah.
two.
You get two, baby.
CHGO, the promo code.
That's true.
All right, guys. So we were talking in pregame a little bit about late scratch, Vooch out. He was ruled questionable yesterday with this hamstring tightness, and so we saw not a Twin Tower starting lineup, which Billy tried and didn't go great, at least in my opinion. Now we just saw Tristan in that starting lineup instead of Vooch. Will, how do you think that went? And did you hear anything about that in that postgame Zoom meeting?
You know, there were a lot of fouls made by Tristan.
Five.
5 of them, 10 total in the last 2 games. So that's consistency.
The thing.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's just so difficult to cover Embiid. And I think that they tried a few interesting ways of just like hard doubling him from the strong side wing, forcing them into rotations. One play really stands out in the first quarter where Javante came down to double Embiid. Embiid kicked it out. Harden tried to jump the pass to the corner, and Ayo read it and just ripped them up and went down the court for a layup. So I think they had the right idea. They tried fronting him. They tried all these different kinds of things, but at the end of the day, he's just such a force, and there's only so much you can do. Billy was talking a lot about fouling, and you know what he was saying is that like at the beginning of the game, they just picked up a bunch and kind of got out of whack, and then in the second quarter, you know, they had some tough ones that didn't go their way. The one where Javante kind of dove out of bounds and hit Embiid.
Yeah.
So, you know, some tough luck, but the Sixers are the best team in the league at free throw attempt rate by a lot. So this is kind of how they make their money. It's just kind of what they do. So Tristan did all right. I think Vooch coming back helps, but there's only so much you can do against a guy like Embiid.
All right, now we turn to the Vooch apologist on the show, Mr. Mark. What did you think about Tristan being in that starting lineup and being so without Vooch tonight?
Well, look, I mean, he was better than Tony Bradley. We can say that for certain. Apologies to Tony Bradley, but no, look, I thought he was okay. He was okay. Like Tristan Thompson at this point of his career is a backup 5. Like you're throwing out a backup 5 against Embiid, who's maybe the MVP this season. Like we should expect bad results, I suppose. But I thought more generally he was okay. I thought the team defense played pretty well. I really liked that small ball unit that the Bulls went to, where they threw Derek Jones Jr. at the 5 after Tristan sort of picked up all those fouls. I thought that was an interesting look. I love Derek Jones Jr. as a backup 5. I know it's not very orthodox look, but I just like the approach of it. But I don't know, like we kind of knew that Vooch had this hamstring thing, that he maybe was questionable coming into this game. But like, I mean, Will writes a piece for the website that, you know, Vooch is extremely valuable even when he's not scoring, and then Vooch misses the game. I mean, is there a connection here? Am I missing something? But look, look, it would have been nice to have Vooch there just from a pure bodies point of view. Billy basically played 7 guards tonight. That's not advantageous given that we're in early March. We're relying on a 7-man rotation this early into the season, or this late into the season, heading into the playoffs. So I guess it would have been nice to see Tony Bradley have or to lean on him as a support piece for Tristan Thompson. But look, he did as much as he could. It would have been nice to have Vooch. Not that Vooch has been that good against Embiid this season, but I think more so from the offense, it would have been good to have Vooch around, because surprisingly, I thought the Bulls defense was pretty good tonight. It was probably more so their offense that was really hurting them tonight.
Yeah. 37 cycles in the comments saying Tristan did all right tonight considering his intended bench role. The guy was a buyout market add-on for a team that was really missing some size. Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing that Bulls fans had, like ridiculous expectations for Tony Bradley. And then maybe, if anything, that was good that came out of it, kind of learn to appreciate Vooch a little more.
Correct.
Despite the struggles, despite the shooting slump, despite Bulls fans wanting to blame way more of this team's defensive issues on him in the absences of certain people that are not all on him, you see what this is like. And to your point about Billy going 7 deep tonight, I don't know, Detroit Brown Jr. and Tony Bradley, thrown together into one Frankenstein's monster count as an 8th person in the rotation? Because combined, they only still managed 12 minutes.
Dude, Tony Bradley, it's so wild because as soon as he walked in the game, it was fouls. Like, as soon as he got on the floor. And Embiid, you just saw him foaming at the mouth. Like, he just couldn't wait to get Tony Bradley out there on the floor. So he made that rotation from 8 to 7, like, very, very quickly. He made the decision for Billy. You even saw Tristan Thompson on the sideline yelling, trying to let, Tony Bradley know what to do out there on the floor because he was immediately out there and drew 2 fouls. And he's trying to tell him, like, dude, that's Joel Embiid out there. I think you need to go in with a better game plan than just saying I'm tall and putting your hands up.
It's also, interesting that people think somebody like a buyout player, Tristan Thompson, is going to be the savior of the defense when you already have guys like Caruso and Lonzo who have been saviors of the defense coming back. And I think, you have to remember that it's not just one-on-one guarding these guys.
Yeah.
They are going to be so helpful guarding at the point of attack, cutting off pick and rolls before, Embiid can establish post position by just staying in front of Harden. So I really do think that they're going to improve defensively. The fouls are one thing. They're going to have more bodies, but when we're talking about depth, it's like 4 more players, Vooch, Lonzo, Caruso, Patrick Williams, who, well, maybe not Patrick Williams based on the last conversation, but 4 more guys that should be in the rotation ahead of these guys.
And not just that, but, the help defense and the quality of help defense and the amount of ground that those
Lonzo,
2 guys,
especially,
Lonzo,
he is amazing.
You saw Lonzo in certain possessions on the defensive end this season seriously guard all 5 guys by himself.
Seen it, yeah.
For certain
all 4 corners of the
and Mark, I believe I saw I saw a tweet of yours talking about when the Bulls went with the method of trapping Harden when he was up at the top, and that didn't necessarily work out well because when Embiid then was in that quick roll and swing scenario, your Zach LaVines and your DeMar DeRozans are the ones who are in a position where they need to be the help defenders and are not known, to put it kindly, to have that kind of stuff in their repertoire on the defensive end.
Yeah, 100%, and that's why I was questioning the logic. I understand at that point in time you got to do something different because the game was slipping away. You got to throw a different look out there. Maybe that forces turnovers. Maybe you fuel your transition game, get some easy scores that way. So it makes sense, but at the same time, knowing the personnel that's on the court, like if you're doubling Harden's an amazing passer. He's going to hit Embiid every single time, and if Embiid's the roll dude, and there's no one stepping up from the corners to sort of stunt over and help out. And that's typically where LaVine and DeMar are situated on defense. And if those guys are a step slow, which is often the case with their help defense and their rotational defense, then I don't know, like it's just very problematic. But to your point, like when you have Lonzo, you have Caruso out there, if they're on the ball or if one of those guys is in the corner or whatever the situation may be, like you just have more of an ability to scramble across the ball and get a little bit funky with these sort of different defensive looks. But yeah, I guess, coming back to being that Vooch apologist, like in these situations where maybe it's like Embiid scoring and people get mad at Vooch because he's duty scoring, like to Will's point, like this is a team defense. If someone doesn't come over to help the guy that's helped, and it's generally Vooch that's helping someone coming up and stepping up, whether it's stepping up into the pick and roll or stepping out away from the pick and roll. If someone's not coming over to help his guy, then we're in for a problematic turn of events there. So there's just a couple of positions down the stretch there where Zach had to make a call. There was one play where he had to sort of step up and take that Embiid charge, and we could visibly see him not wanting any part of that, which I completely understand. Like, I would not want to take that charge either, but like that's his rotation to make. He didn't necessarily make it in time, and I can't remember what happened in like whether Embiid scored or went to the line, but ultimately, it was an easy score for the Sixers, or an easy conversion at least for the Sixers. So yeah, it was an interesting strategy. I'm not necessarily blaming Billy for it, but based on the personnel that we do have in place at the moment, it just wasn't probably going to work.
Speaking of the Bulls looking for answers and maybe a little bit of size on the defensive end, Clayton in the comments said, games like today, it's where I wish they'd bring up Tyler Cook and give him a few minutes off the bench just to see how he compares today to Tony Bradley. We did see Donovan give Tyler Cook a couple of games of a look.
Yeah.
No rhyme intended, but earlier this season, and then right back down to the Windy City Bulls he went. Yeah. And any of you guys have any interest in taking a second look at Cook? Because
Keep
it
rhyming.
could.
I mean, he's just on it today. Ain't he?
It's not on purpose.
The bars.
It's gonna give me nightmares.
Look, I'll make it quick because I know my man Will loves Tyler Cook, but yeah, you have to give him an opportunity. I don't think I saw anything when he was out there to say, you know what, this guy or a guy like Tony Bradley should be ahead of you constantly. He should get all your minutes instead of you. When I saw him guarding Giannis, I was like, okay, you did the best you could against one of the best players in the NBA. You knew you were going to get a lot of fouls. All I needed you to do was go out there and use those fouls and maybe score yourself about 6 points or something like that. That's really what I got from him, and that's really what I wanted. So, yeah, I like Tyler Cook. I like his mentality when he's playing on the floor defensively, and offensively he sets the pick and he's going to roll to the bucket and he's trying to dunk on you. So I have no problem with giving him those kind of minutes, Will.
He's just an athlete. I really like Tyler Cook. I think he's got some tools. He doesn't really know the game super well at this point, but you mentioned the Bucks game. I wonder. I'm trying to look it up right now. If he was, if when they faced the Bucks and he played, if Derrick Jones Jr. was healthy that game, it might have been when he broke his finger. I thought, Mark, to your point, that Derrick Jones had some really nice minutes at 5, but it's just tough to make that work against a center like Embiid or like Jokic, who can just punish you as a post scorer. So there's only so much you can do. I really don't think, everybody freaks out about the Bulls defending Embiid or Giannis. Like nobody can do it. So yeah, I think it's worth trying different options, and Cook kind of fits the bill as somebody who can be that athletic big body and just stay in front of guys.
I don't know. To tee up Mark, have you ever seen Ryan Arcidiacono guard Giannis? Because it was kind of a thing, you guys.
That's it. He scored his first bucket for the Knicks the other day. He's coming along. But like coming back to the Tyler Cook thing, I think Tristan Thompson's arrival will basically spelt the end of Tyler Cook's time with the Bulls this season. I think he's going to remain down with the Windy City Bulls, because it kind of feels like they got 3 different type of backup centers. If you will, they got the big behemoth in Tony Bradley, you've got your mid-sized guy like a Tristan Thompson or a Tyler Cook, and then you've got that swing option where you go really small at the 5 with Derrick Jones Jr. Like Tyler Cook sort of fits that Tristan Thompson model, but they're always going to lean on Thompson in this situation. So yeah, he's probably not going to get a call up. I like Tyler Cook. I really like him. I think he should be part of the roster next season. But my guess is we're not going to really see him much again for the remainder of the season, unfortunately. But look, that's the funny thing. Like we're talking about Tyler Cook as a two-way guy here, but where's our boy Marco at? Like can't he get a run even in these situations? He clearly can't. But yeah, he was nowhere to be seen when the Bulls really need some backup play. But it just hasn't come along this season.
That boy Marco needs to hit the weight room and eat some steaks.
Putting them on the Peck meat diet. That's what we about
Put
to
them on the Peck meat diet, man.
That's a scary diet.
But the Peck meat diet does not have the weightlifting attached to it. It's just eating too much meat.
It's not an NBA player diet. It's just
no. It's not an anybody player diet. Like you shouldn't do it. All right.
Shout out to our guy JR in the comments who said, "Congrats on the new venture, guys. I'm now officially a fan of the C to the ISH, G to the ISO podcast."
Well done, sir.
Wow.
Look at all these rhyming references out of Peck tonight.
I didn't come out.
I know, but you read it correctly. And I'm very proud of you.
Kevin Farragon with the Captain Obvious comment of the evening, saying, "I wouldn't bring back Troy Brown Jr." Congratulations for figuring that one out.
Well done, sir.
Much love to you.
Well done.
Jake Flanagan, what's up, Jake?
Jake
says, "Here's a question: can the Bulls go at least 5-3 over their next 8 games?" No. All right, who wants to have a rosier outlook?
Well, I have to see the actual schedule.
I'll give it to you.
Give me the schedule.
Next 8 games: Pistons, Cavs, Kings, Jazz, Suns, Raptors, Bucks, Pelicans. That's your next 8.
Yes.
I see.
What was how many wins do we need here?
He said 5
and 3.
5 and 3.
So can you get 5 wins out of Pistons, Cavs, Kings, Jazz, Suns, Raptors, Bucks, Pelicans?
Yeah. I think so. I
do
think
too.
you really need to win these next 3. Like
Yes.
I know you'll need to do that in order to get 5 of 8, but I mean, the Bulls have taken care of business against bad teams all year, and that's really what has kept them in the standings where they are. So they absolutely need to do that. There's no excuses there. The Jazz are playing all right now. Not their best. The Suns are without Chris Paul, so maybe they can squeak a win out of one of those 2 games. The Bucks, we'll see.
Is Booker still in protocols, or did he clear those?
He's still in protocols, but I'm not sure when.
But by the
he
time
might
that
be
Bulls-Suns
out
game
by the time they play.
comes, he might
Yeah,
get
they're
out
still
of
a
there.
machine, though, man. Like,
Yeah.
Phoenix is still a machine.
Well,
They
I
look really
mean,
special.
if CP3 and Book are out, what was that? More minutes for campaign?
That's true.
That's
Oh,
good
yes.
news for everybody.
Come on now.
or is he hurt too? I can't remember.
No, he's out there. No,
Okay.
Cam is out there. He's out there.
Abe in the comments saying the Bulls beat the Celtics in a 5-game series. Is that what you said? They don't play 5-game series anymore.
Oh, wow. Old school then. He old schooled it on him, bro.
Also, I'm not so sure. Have you seen the way the Celtics have been playing?
They
Oh,
look
he
great.
said the Bulls beat the Celtics in the playoffs in 5.
Oh, they'll win in
5 in a best of 7? I don't see healthy Bulls losing to them. Okay, well, first of all, Bulls aren't healthy. We'll see if they get there. But also, that Celtics team that's nipping at the Bulls' heels in the Eastern Conference standings right now, you're saying Bulls in 5? Have you seen Jason Tatum play recently? I think I take a Tatum. And the words of Bill Simmons, I think I take a Tatum. Dude's playing lights out.
He is, man. He's looking really special, and Jaylen Brown is the perfect compliment to him right now. So, no, they look great together, man. And do they play Boston again this season?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, they do?
Yeah,
okay,
I think
yeah.
Third to last game of the
Third to
one of
last
their
game.
last
Okay,
ones, yeah.
okay, yeah. That might be with some importance there, because like as Mark said, that might be the team you're playing in the playoffs. So it might be a playoff preview very, very early. So you're gonna have to take that game very seriously.
Yeah, over a Saturday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they play Miami, Milwaukee, Boston. Somehow this schedule just keeps getting harder. I thought that they dealt with everything in a
I
tough
think
November.
we cracked the case on how the Bulls got out to such an impressive record, you guys. I think they were playing a bunch of trash teams.
While being injured. Yeah.
And the
while they got
Bulls,
there.
to their credit, went from being a team that could occasionally beat bad teams and could never beat mediocre teams to a team that is now beating bad teams, occasionally beating mediocre teams, and still haven't figured out how to beat the good teams.
Step in the right direction.
The next logical
That
step.
is literally the step.
You gotta walk.
It is the
around.
process. You can't skip steps in the process. It reminds me of like 2015 when Milwaukee was playing the Bulls, and even we talked about that game, how they just ran through, Milwaukee, and it was a young Giannis out there, and they hadn't figured it out yet. They had to take those steps in the process, to get there. And now where Milwaukee is, like, oh my God! But
So
this
let me
is
ask
how
you
it goes.
this then: what is the next step? Because DeMar is playing. I mean, maybe he can get better, but it seems like he's playing at as high a level as anybody can. So what does obviously Vooch can improve on his numbers. Zach is playing at a really high level for the most part, minus the health scares. So I guess just having everybody back, which Billy was saying after the game, we hope everybody's going to be back. We assume everybody's going to be back, but we don't know that yet. But what is the next step that gets them to where they are competing against good teams
Well, for one,
consistently?
right now they're learning just how to win. You know what I mean, and how to actually do that. That it's a team with a bunch of guys who aren't used to playing meaningful games this late in the season. Outside of guys like DeMar DeRozan and Caruso, people like that. But you can even throw Lonzo in there as well. They're not used to being in this kind of situation. So that's what I mean when I say taking those steps and, going through the process. But the next logical step is to be comfortable with that, to know that, okay, we're supposed to be here. And then you take those steps of trying to make a deep run, in the playoffs. And I have, me, man, I got all the faith in the world in AK and Mark Eversley. Okay. So I know they're looking at and they're seeing the same things you're seeing, that Mark is seeing, that Matt is seeing. And I know that they're going to make those moves to improve this team in the offseason so they can take those steps, Oh,
God. No, do not put up that comment from Clayton. Dude, you know the one.
What comment?
The one that
Is it
just
comment
came,
from
you don't
Cleveland?
want to see it, Dave.
Is it that dude's name? If it's that dude's name, I definitely don't want to see it.
His name is not mentioned, but a reference of one of his favorite phrases is mentioned.
Oh,
And
no, man.
I don't know if neuralizers work through multiple screens.
We about to find out, ain't we? We're going to find out.
RAB in the comments, are you serious, Black's brother? RAB said guarding Giannis and Embiid, I don't see as the issue. Like you guys said, no bigs fare well against them. I see rebounding as the issue. The Bulls seem to get murdered on the glass. The Bulls actually out-rebounded the Sixers by 10 tonight.
Yeah.
I looked in the box
It was
score when
solid,
the game was
yeah.
over and was like, what?
And offensive rebounding early on was really,
That's
really
why.
good.
The Bulls
Yeah.
I think they had like 14 offensive rebounds tonight.
Yeah.
It's a shame they didn't do more with those second chance point opportunities.
Yeah,
But
and it was one of the things I actually was concerned about because I wanted the guards to start rebounding a little bit better. Because I didn't think that they were just really out there doing a great job of it. It started to come around last game, but I remember in that Atlanta game, I mean, Trae Young had as many rebounds as Zach LaVine and Ayo combined, and that should never be the case. So I like the fact that, you know, Zach, even in that last game when he had 30, he threw 8 rebounds in there. Ayo, we'll talk about him in a second, but he played a great game. He only had 3 rebounds. It's just the fact that his activity was on point, and I really enjoyed that, man. And DeMar with 11 rebounds. So, yeah, when your backcourt can kind of help you out because you have to – the way they play defense by committee, they have to rebound by committee the same kind of way.
Mark, have you noticed that recently with Zach and also maybe DeMar a little bit being guilty of slacking, not just on their defense and their off-ball defense, but on their chipping in on boarding as well?
Well, I'm glad you said that because I was just going to pitch this story idea here now. Like, who's going to be the first one of us to write or maybe posit on a podcast? Like, when is it okay to start slandering DeMar DeRozan for his defense? Because, I mean, he's been unbelievable this season, obviously. And, you know, offensively, what he's done is just been next level, like historic on certain levels. And we've seen that over the last few weeks. It's started to regress some now. But, like, I mean, what he has been doing has just been completely unforeseeable. So it's bought him a lot of goodwill, let's say. But, I mean, some of his defensive possessions tonight were just really, really bad. I mean, there was one that, you know, comes, you know, direct to my mind where Matisse Thybulle just backcut him and just got an easy dunk, and DeMar had no clue where Thybulle was. And I don't know, like, at what point is it okay to start slandering DeMar about his defense? It's been pretty bad all year, but like I said, the offense has been so good we don't necessarily care about it. But I guess now with the offense maybe slumping a bit, is it okay now if I, you know, post 800 words on DeMar DeRozan's bad defense, or will people come after me with pitchforks and the like? Should I avoid that?
Well, they're going to come after you anyway with that, Mark, regardless.
Well,
like,
I guess.
They got him in the garage ready for you.
And look, at least DeMar and Zach did chip in on the glass tonight. They combined for 19 rebounds.
Correct, man.
You'll take that from your 2 guard and your wing.
Every single day.
Absolutely you will. But I think Mark is right. Like, we have been forgiving of DeMar's defensive malaise because he has been playing at an MVP level on the offensive end. And look, how many all-star caliber players, superstar players who are civs on defense get a pass for that because of their level of elite play on offense.
Correct.
Like DeMar is in that category of players, and it's just part of the deal. But when DeMar slumps a little bit offensively and just returns to being a really good offensive player instead of a supernova, maybe that kind of brings out the noticeable levels of defensive weakness with him. Will, what do you think about that?
What did Jimmy always used to say? Winning cures all. So, like, yeah, I think it's just more noticeable. It's louder when the team isn't winning. You know, the offensive burden has been there this entire year, and he's carried it. So I can understand why he's tired, but also, like, I keep coming back to it. You know, the infrastructure around him with Lonzo and Caruso back is going to make him and everybody else look better on both sides of the ball.
Right.
I am never usually this optimistic about the Bulls, but I think those two guys are really good. So I think we'll see when they get back.
Yeah. I completely agree with that. Go ahead.
So DeMar, we showed you that graphic again that we showed you in pregame about just DeMar having a little bit of a backslide with his shooting efficiency and his efficiency getting to the free throw line of late. DeMar fixed the free throw line problem. He went to the line 12 times tonight. But he did continue to struggle with his shot from the field, just 6 of 17 for 23 points. That's now 5 games in a row, all Bulls losses, in which DeMar DeRozan has appeared, as the graphic called it, human. DeMar DeRozan, human. Bulls play quality opponent, Bulls lose. DeMar DeRozan must be superhuman for the Bulls to win right now. That appears to be a fact. Does anybody disagree with that? Mark?
No. I mean, like coming back to what I said before, like Bulls are over the last 30-odd games, they're a minus net rating team, minus 1.2 off the top of my head, something like that. So, like, they're virtually breaking even with teams. And if for whatever reason things aren't going perfectly, like DeMar carrying you with a 35-point night, then you're susceptible to losses. And when you're coming up a team like the Bucks or the Sixers or even a team like the Hawks, like, you're going to get beat if you're not on it. So, yeah, it's completely justifiable at this point. There's only so many times we can come back to the Caruso-Lonzo well before people get sick of it, but it's true. But, yeah, DeMar needs to be at that level for us to sort of, manage through this part of the schedule. And unfortunately, last 4 or 5 games, he just hasn't been there.
Let him play. I don't know if that breaks the NBA rules, but I'm pretty sure it does.
It's like a linebacker with like the cast and the ball.
Right. Yeah. That club that Brian Urlacher used to fly around Soldier Field with.
Oh, man.
Salim appreciated the Jimmy quote from Will. All the Jimmy Butler stands in the building.
Now, I will say that about DeMar is what I do like is when guys are slumping and their shooting isn't going. What other facets of your game can you affect, what's going on the floor?
Absolutely.
So the fact that he went and had 11 rebounds with those 8 assists just lets you know how important he is to this team and how multifaceted his game can be. Because it's not going to happen on defensive end. That's well documented, and we have definitely seen it. But on that offensive side, the fact he had a near triple-double, even though he was struggling to score, he's so important, man. He's been amazing for this Bulls team.
And the free throws are huge, too. I mean, he had 23 points on 17 shots. So, he didn't make a ton of his field goal attempts, but boosting your free throws of 11 to 12, that really helps with efficiency of, his game, but also just the Bulls half-court offense.
Yeah.
This is an interesting comment from Jordan. Oh, look at that timing. You guys popped that up just when I was getting into it.
We're getting it.
Boom.
We're getting it.
You're getting it.
And so, guys, we
professionals.
actually talked a little bit about this while we were watching the game tonight. Jordan said Bulls will be stuck getting kicked out of the second round unless they find an answer to Giannis or Embiid.
There is no
Like,
answer.
okay,
Bro, there is no answer. Literally no answer at all in the NBA.
I'm gonna be stuck. I'm gonna be stuck with a burnt cake if I put it in the oven and then leave town for a week. Like what? Yeah, that's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen, man. Like there's nothing you could do against these guys. You can't be, and you can only hope to contain them. You know what I'm saying? Like that saying.
Well, you have to just outshoot them, and I think that's what you're seeing right now is DeMar's 6 for 17, not 18 for 17.
But we were maybe talking about how. So this is a clean sweep in the regular season for the Sixers over the Bulls, 4-0. Which, by the way, 11-0 career for Embiid now against the Bulls.
Crazy.
The Bulls are also 0-2 against the Bucks. But in those 2 games, first one, Grayson Allen, may he rot in hell, and then the one from Friday night, the Bulls were in it, and the Bulls had a chance to win late.
Yeah.
The Bulls did not have a chance to win late in this game, I don't feel.
No.
And I think we were all on the same page in suggesting that we were talking about on Friday. I don't even think the Bulls have a shot at beating the Bucks in the best of 7, but I will give it that they have a greater chance of beating the Bucks in a best of 7 than the Sixers because Embiid
And Harden. Monster. Can't forget about that guy.
And Harden.
Freaking Harden.
And even
I wonder, is a bigger or maybe just a separate issue, like, can they close out tight games? Obviously, this was a blowout, but the Bulls can't seem to beat really good teams, and they seem to have trouble, with the exception of 2 DeMar back-to-back game-winning threes, to close out tight games.
Well, he's the one. He's been doing it for them this season. Just king in the fourth, as Matt said. I might just say king of the fourth because it bugs you. I think I might just say that and just go forward, man. I just might do that.
Like see, look out! It's like a bug in my brain.
But he has been that important. So when he's not hitting those shots in the fourth quarter, who do you rely on? Like, who do you kind of go to? The other fourth quarter person I knew that the Bulls had was Kobe White. He was pretty solid playing in the fourth quarter this season. Now he's been on and off, like,
and he
with
started
his
quiet tonight. He was 2 of 7 at halftime,
right.
and then he had some big buckets down the stretch when he was trying to get the Bulls back in it.
He did, man. He finished with 19 points. Because I was worried about him even in that last game because he didn't have that kind of Kobe White game that we kind of needed from him. 15 points from Kobe White would have went a real long way. And so the fact he put up that 19 here tonight, he'll catch it here, he'll catch it there, but he's going to be of vital importance, man, going forward.
What about you, Mark? Would you agree that the Sixers would be an even tougher foe to face in the playoffs than Milwaukee, the teams we've seen?
Yeah, at present. Yeah, definitely. Most certainly. There was so many times in this game tonight when Harden and Embiid were running a pick and roll, and I was just sitting there thinking to myself, like, how do you even bother or how do you even attempt to stop this damn thing? Like, Harden was coming off the, dribble handoff situation. You've got him going, as he's turning, he's got him going downhill. And then as soon as you send 2 to the ball, then you've got Embiid rolling to the rim, who's the biggest dude in the NBA. Like, how do you possibly stop that? And not to mention both of those dudes are really good passers. So I don't know how you stop their pick and roll. Tyrese Maxey's been unbelievable. If Tobias Harris looks like even a role player at some point, then their 4-man combination is just going to be too lethal. So yeah, I definitely fear the Sixers much more than the Bucks. I think the Bulls have a chance against the Bucks. Giannis is Giannis; he's unstoppable. But I don't necessarily rate the rest of their core. Whereas Embiid, Harden, that pick and roll is just it's devastating.
And it's interesting, Mark, because their logic is sound. Like you're saying, it's so sound and logical. But it's hard for me just to dismiss the Bucks because they're the NBA champions, And I know when you get in those playoffs, it kind of goes up to another level, and they'll be kicking it up to a whole nother level once they get out there. So they might be extra formidable, if they have to play the Bulls.
Yeah, certainly possible. Like if they spam the Giannis at center thing, then I get much more scared of the Bucks. But if they're going to, pour minutes into Bobby Portis or even Serge Ibaka or maybe an injured Brook Lopez when he comes back, if they force him minutes, then and he's not completely right, then maybe I think they've got more of a chance. But if they just go to that Giannis center lineup, if their wings and guards play like they should, then I get scared at that potential situation. But as currently constructed, the way they're rolling with it at the moment, then I think they've got a chance. I wouldn't put the Bulls as favorites in that series, but I think they'd have a chance.
Dom in the comments saying Tyrese Maxey being on the opposite side of that pick and roll action for the Sixers, SMH. I assume that means you think it's not fair, and I would agree, man. Maxey is a fun player to watch.
He is,
Jeez
man.
Louise.
He is something awesome.
And it's not fair. And look, like Harden didn't even really have that efficient of a night. I mean, He did pile in 14 assists, which is ridiculous, but he was just 5 of 15 from the field.
Yeah.
Like, two of my parlays were Harden's assists and points. I had 20 and 10. He fell short of the 20, but like that's crazy to think about. Like they handily won this game against the Bulls, and Harden had a 33% shooting night.
Yeah, just lets you know, one, how incredible Joel Embiid is, and two, like just how many weapons there are on this team. I mean, even Yang came out there and was doing his thing and went off. And we're used to Firkin Korkmaz having those games against the Bulls.
Killer.
We're used to that. He didn't even get a chance to play. I don't know if he was hurt or not, but I know he didn't get a chance to play. When I saw Thibault start hitting threes, you're like, okay, you're really in trouble out here, man. And Maxey, he had a quiet game from what I've seen him, been doing since the trade has occurred. 6 of 13, with 17
quiet
points.
17
but
points.
A quiet 17 points, man. But he is an absolute issue and a serious problem. But, yeah, we talked about it in the pregame about Tobias Harris and what he could provide, at that fourth. He had that quiet game, but for me, he's still an issue, man.
Yeah, when you have 4 guys like that who can really score, I think just the construction of this 76ers roster is really interesting. I don't think we've seen, a team that has such a insanely talented pick and roll combo. I mean, you think of like Steph Curry and Draymond Green. Draymond's incredible as a short roll playmaker, but he's not the scoring threat that Embiid is, who can get to the line 16 times on any given night. LeBron and Kyrie, something like that maybe, but it's really interesting. I don't think we've seen anything like it in a long time. And when you put those floor spacers around and you have guys like Harris and Maxey who can, pump fake and get to the basket, they're really dynamic, and it's just impossible to decide who you want to defend and who you want to give up shots to.
Yeah, I do want to say this real because I feel like I'm giving too much love to the Sixers here. I want to give some love to Ayo, man. In the game that he had.
I was just going to bring him up.
Because he has just been absolutely incredible. Please, go ahead, sir.
Well, 37 cycles in the comments said it looked like Ayo prevented another DeMar tech in this game. Is Ayo a veteran player trapped in a rookie's body?
He's the tech whisperer.
I mean, we say it about him all the time. Rookie who talks and acts and plays like a 10-year vet.
Yeah, man. It was so great just watching him, especially in that first half. When he gets that ball on a steal or a deflection or whatever, he has one thing on his mind, and that's get to the bucket. He's gone, period. He doesn't care who's with him. He's going all the way. And usually you get upset at stuff like that. I remember we used to get upset at Kobe White when he would do that, going 1-on-4 and going against those guys. But when Ayo do it, it's with such grace and it's so under control. And you know that he sees everything that's happening on the floor and he knows where everybody kind of is. So I trust him when he makes that decision to just go to the bucket. And his speed is so crazy, the strides he takes, man. It was really hard for them to defend early on when he was making those decisions just to go to the bucket. And that's how he was getting all those layups when he was getting there. Add that to that mid-range game that he was showing also that he's improving on. And you can probably thank DeMar DeRozan for stuff like that. But you saw those things growing in him, man. And, yeah, I'm just always impressed when he plays like this.
He stepped up in such a big way. Go ahead, Mark.
No, you go.
Say he's stepped up in such a big way, and I know we kind of touched on it after our last show about the similarities between him and Drew Holiday, like just the instincts and, like you're saying, just the veteran way that he plays the game, positioning himself, jumping passing lanes. He had one play where he missed a free throw, somebody got an offensive rebound, and he just cut to the basket and got the ball back, and somebody stepped up to take a charge, and he just dumped it off for a layup. Like he's really smart and he plays with great pace, never out of control.
So go ahead, Mark.
I was just going to say, I was wondering do you think the Ayo love would be as strong as what it would be now had he not played college ball in Chicago or in Illinois? And the reason why I'm saying that I'm positioning it this way is, obviously Ayo is getting a lot of attention. He's getting a lot of hype, as he should. But I think it's kind of we more generally, as fans, as the media, as whatever, are underselling like the level of competency this dude is showing as a rookie point guard. Like generally guards that come into the NBA take a couple of years to sort of string things together. But to be a guy that comes in as a second-round pick, I wasn't even sure if he was going to be a point guard, to be honest with you. I thought he might be some sort of combo guard type thing. Maybe even play some time on the wing because of the ball handlers the Bulls do have. But the ability that he has shown in the pick and roll, the way he runs the offense, like I feel like that gets underlooked a little bit just because he is this Illinois dude, and he's obviously been amazing. Everyone recognizes that, but like from a pure basketball sense, I wonder if we're even sleeping on it to a degree just because of his pedigree and where he's sort of hailed from. And I wonder if we would be focusing more on the basketball side of things if he played his college basketball in some other state. It's just a thing I'm kicking around. Maybe I'm completely wrong about that, but I reckon even on some level we're kind of underrating Ayo a little bit.
I told Matt this a month ago. The biggest compliment I gave Ayo, I could give to Ayo, was when Lonzo went out and he got hurt. I didn't bat an eye because I knew Ayo was there and he was going to be the starting point guard.
Didn't bat an eye.
I didn't bat an eye. Come on, Will.
I'm here all week.
Come on, Will. T-shirt. Did bat an eye. That's a T-shirt.
Who's taking notes on the T-shirts?
Oh, that's awesome. But that's the biggest compliment because he's a rookie coming in. You know what I'm saying? You're stepping into being a starting point guard in a league where you have to have a really good point guard to be, a really good basketball team. And not only is he stepping in to play the position, he's going to defend whoever is the best point guard or the best player on that other team, man. And he's been doing a great job defending them and running this offense, as Mark said. So he's been incredible, man. And that's the biggest compliment I can give him is I wasn't concerned a bit about how things were going to be run.
OSRS Book of Acts. The guy on the right looks like Kyle Korver. Can he shoot? Hey, Will, can you shoot? Can you help out the Bulls' lack of three-point shooting right now?
I get that a lot. The Kyle Korver thing.
I think Kyle has just a few inches on
Is this your first hearing this, Mark?
I get that I look like him a lot. I cannot shoot like that at all.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's a humble brag. Like Kyle Korver's a good-looking man, and here's Will just saying, "Oh, I get that a lot." Like a lot of people compare me to Kyle Korver often.
I'm just stating the facts here, Mark.
You know, he's just pulling out cars from modeling agencies that he meets walking down the street.
It's that hair. It's that hair.
Stu said,
It's the hair. Thank you. Yes, Mark. It's the
Stu
hair.
said, "Stop talking up Ayo. The rookie card market for Ayo is already insane. I can't get it started." TJ said, "I hate Grayson Allen." Yeah, so does everyone, including his mother.
Wow.
Grayson Allen's mother hates him.
If you want your comment to get read, just make it about how much you hate Grayson Allen.
Right. And
Matt will find it and he will read it.
My bloodlust has not been quenched yet, folks. Before we get out of here, so Big Dave, you and I used to do this thing. Kendall Gill used to bug me all the time when I was staunch in my opinion that it wasn't time yet for Derrick Rose to make his return to the Bulls, right?
I was there,
And
yes.
Kendall goes, "Hey, Matt, did you see what Derrick Rose did tonight?"
Every night.
After any night that Derrick Rose played an NBA game and did some stuff.
It was amazing.
And then so last season, once he was out of our lives, but we still wanted to keep one eye on him occasionally, we would look at Chris Dunn's stat lines.
Yes.
Playing for Atlanta, right?
Yes,
I believe?
correct. Atlanta.
And we turned it in from, "Did you see what D Rose did tonight?" to, "Did you see what Chris Dunn don't tonight?"
Yes.
I think we might have a new candidate to play that game because holy crap, I just looked once more at Tony Bradley's stat line. Are you guys ready for this? This will give us all a laugh before we get out of here.
Come on.
6 minutes. 0 for 0, 0 for 0, 0 for 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 2, 0. The 2 was fouls.
He did his best to pull a Tony Snell.
He tried. He
Dude.
put in the effort, man.
But when we call it the binary
The
stat
binary
line.
stat
When you have
line,
just a
yes.
couple of ones and
I
just
like it.
sprinkled
Ones
in
and
there.
zeros.
Ones
in
and
there.
zeros, baby.
Yeah, man. That's
It's
it.
the Matrix.
Wow.
Eli said
There was a
RIP
9.
Chris Dunn's
There was a
career.
9. It was just a -9 though. That's the problem.
Right. But it wasn't the biggest plus minus of the Bulls tonight, which would have been impressive considering he played just 6 minutes.
6.
All right, I think that's going to about wrap it up here for us.
Come on, Detroit!
CHGO Bulls post-game brought to you by PointsBet. Thanks again to them for letting us have some fun tonight. Don't forget to use that promo code CHGO when you sign up for that PointsBet account and get all sorts of awesome deals, including some free swag from us here at CHGO. Boom.
What's the code again?
CHGO.
There you go. There it is.
Head over to that website, allchgo.com, to get all the latest great content, including written content from Mr. Will Gottlieb here, from Mr. Mark K over there. Plus, check out that podcast feed as always. We'll be back here tomorrow doing a podcast episode on an off day for the Bulls.
Let's do it.
Get yourselves right, Bulls, and then go beat the Pistons by 30.
Do
Please.
that. Be awesome.
He's at Won't Gottlieb. Mark is at MK Hoops. He is at Bow, BAWL Sports. I am at Bulls_Peck. We are at CHGO_Bulls.
Hey,
Till
Mark.
next time, Bulls Nation. We love you. See red. Be good.